we're starting, I actually started yesterday, different job, another school. This is a pretty big one. Anyway, we've got lots of wide, this is like, I think it's safe room footing, and this is a big one. I mean, I've seen big ones before, but this one, I think there's probably room for 3 or 4 basketball courts in it. I don't know, it's pretty big. Anyway, I dug that half of it yesterday, actually a little bit more than half. And we're going to see where we get today. We might, I know we'll get this part done, but we may start in on some, but you know, it's funny, these guys promised, they said, we got 2 weeks of digging out there. I'm like, okay, that sounds about right. They showed me the plans. I said, yeah, that's probably 2 weeks. It's probably, you know, give or take the way things work. Apparently, they thought I would dig as slow as everybody else that works for them. Because I think they were impressed yesterday by how much we got done. And I told them, I said, I'm not even really hurrying, because I knew these guys were going to run out of something to do today. I guess they laid something in the ditch there. I don't know what that is. Anyway, when you go work for a new customer, it happens sometimes. It happens quite a bit, actually. They're like, yeah, we're going to keep you digging 5 days a week. I'm like, nah, I doubt it. And I should know better. I mean, rod busters have most all this they had it all tied up before I got here, but I'm still ahead of them, and I'm staying ahead of them. And it's not that hard to do for me. So, but the key to really being quick or fast with the backhoe is not engine speed. It's not how fast you can run these hydraulics. It's keeping that bucket moving smoothly. Keeping dirt moving smoothly. There's nothing, we don't have to rush. We don't have to fight with the backhoe. We basically work with the backhoe. But it takes practice to get smooth. And sometimes I mess up too, but anyway, these guys start at 6 in the morning. Of course, it's 6:30 now, the time they get done with their morning meeting, and but I'm excited about this deal because I'm getting in with a new company. It's a big company. This business is hard to be in without more than 1 or 2 companies to kind of keep you moving. If you get to a point where you're relying on one company all the time, you're going to be broke, because it just seems like that there's always that lull where they won't have any new buildings going in the ground, but they'll be busy. They'll be busy working on the top outs and, you know. So anyway, to the guys that want to get rich digging footings, I've been at it for 30 years. I'm not rich yet, so. And you might say, well, you need 4 operators and 4 backhoes to make it work. Probably do if you really want to make a lot of money, but and I'm sure that's the best way to get rich at doing something, is to get big. But that's never been my intention or goal in life. It's never been, hey, I want a fleet of 5 backhoes, 5 operators. We're gonna dig every footing in Oklahoma. We probably could. if I had a crew half as good as me, or better, then might get lucky and get something better. Get out there and advertise, but I think you're still gonna have times where you're not busy, and that's what kills you. It ain't, the money's good when you're working, money's great, and the thing I like about this business is the money's good enough when I am working. And I can go a ways without working and not be hurt too bad, but it's just been a weird year. Last year I was as busy as I wanted to be, and then some. Actually was busier than I wanted to be. This year's turned around different. So you just never know. But like I say, watch the end of the bucket, watch the teeth. Teeth are always on the move. When they hit the ground, they don't stop moving in, bucket full, moving out, dumping, right back at it. There's very little time that bucket actually stops moving in one direction or another. So that's how you get a lot done in a day. It ain't that you're running really fast. It ain't that you're just, heating up hydraulic oil. But you can hear this backhoe, it don't mind much when it's running smooth. Very little lug. The engine don't lug. Of course this is easy digging. But it's just that fluid movement, smooth movement, that'll get you a lot of time. People don't realize that. They think, if I can get the fastest cycle time, well, you can probably beat me on one cycle time. Or you could probably beat me on 10, but over a day's time you can't keep that pace up. You're not gonna. And the fact that at the end of the day, I'm ahead of these guys anyway, so I could go faster. Don't get me wrong, I could go faster, but why? It burns more diesel, it's hard on equipment, and I'm paid by the hour. So there's my reasons to not go faster. Dumb. heavy rebar in these mats on this job. Another thing on this job, you notice the gravel in the ditch. Those are what they call a geopier. I talked about them before. It's kind of the new. It seems to me like all the companies are going to that geopier. We used to do a lot of concrete piers on school buildings, and they, you know, drill them and pour them. Apparently this method's better, I don't know, but they drill a pier about every 5 feet and they pack them full of gravel. So whenever you're digging this dirt, you get around one of them piers, the dirt's super hard right around that pier, and then it'll be a little softer in between the piers. So you can kind of see they staggered them. There's one over on that side. There's one right there, but it makes it tough to dig a straight wall because when that dirt's compacted right up against that wall, well, it just makes hard spots in it. So probably close there. But anyway, this is kind of the new normal, I guess, on footings. And they've been doing this for years. It's been around. The first time I saw it was, shoot, when was that? Shoot, it's probably back 2012, 2014, maybe, I don't know. It's been a while. But it's more and more and more of them doing it that way. So, what I'm doing here, I'm just kind of smashing things down a little bit. Smoothing things out. Taking down the ridges. I don't always do that. But this guy, he needs to measure this to make sure we're fitting the bead, but see how close the rebar is to the edge of the dirt. Make sure we got room in there. Looks like in a place or two we're kind of tight on that rebar. So that's one reason you got to really try to keep the ditch straight. That rebar don't bend whenever you got a little bend in a ditch, so it's not rocket science. It's just digging. So, just out here trying to make a living digging ditches. When people say you got to have brand new equipment to attract customers, it could be true, but not always, because there is such a thing as putting out a quality or a level of there's such a thing as putting out a level of work that's above and beyond what people expect or usually see. And when they see it, they forget about this backhoe. They forget what I'm driving. And it becomes more about the operator and what the operator can do. And at that point, it's like, okay, so that theory went out the window. So if you go buy a new backhoe, yeah, it might look pretty. Somebody might be impressed with you. But you still better show up and do some nice work if you want to get more jobs. I mean, if I came out here with a brand new machine and didn't do a good job, these guys wouldn't be saying, hey, I was talking to one of our other superintendents, and he was asking when he's going to be done here because he could probably use you. So that's how it works in a good market. My machine don't leak. It don't need a diaper. I do maintain it, and that's the thing that other people miss is this iron is exactly that. It's iron. It's steel. It's not computers. It's not software. The new one that come out this year, or actually a couple years ago, New Holland was advertising their new B95D, and I've looked at them. Same operator station, pretty much same controls, a little bit different cab. No improvement that I could see. There's a lot of actual negatives about them, which has to do with the engine and depth and computers and diesel particulate filters, and yeah. So in my opinion, New Holland has not improved the B95 since 2007. Actually, they've gotten worse since then because of the government requirements of the engines they have to put in them with emissions controls. This backhoe is considered a tier 3, but it's all mechanical. Do I think it will live forever? No, I don't. I'm not delusional. I know it won't. I know at some point it will need a new engine or a rebuilt engine. Frame wise, this is a stout backhoe. I mean, it's got a good frame. I don't have major problems with any of the frame. You know, I've had issues with my extendable stick, which I need to find me another one someday. But I try to improve this backhoe every month somehow or another. Some months I might replace some seals or hoses. Some months I might replace some bushings and pins. A couple years ago, put a new seat in it, you know. And those are things that when you have a payment are really, really hard to do, because I've been there. I've been with the backhoe payment, and I needed pins and bushings, or I needed a new seat. I couldn't afford it. So, you know, there's more than one way to navigate this business. I'm probably doing it the wrong way. Like I say, footing work is not the most stable job you can have. When it's good, it's really good. And when it's good, I sit here in this backhoe and I just can't believe somebody's paying me to do this. It's like, this is, man, I'm getting paid to do this. But then there's times nobody will ring your phone at all. And it's like, okay, no matter how good you are, it don't matter sometimes. There's just times that you don't, you know, ebb and flow. It's kind of like the tide, whatever. So you might wonder why I'm driving forward and moving over instead of just pushing the backhoe. I'm trying to stay in line with these ditches so I can see down them better. If you just move the backhoe over to the side, you kind of got to move your neck. And also, like I said, there's no big rush, because I'll just work myself out of a job if I don't. But anyway, just taking time, making sure it's neat, best I can get it. But you know, there's not a lot of, I don't know, there's probably some out there, but there's just not a whole lot of jobs anymore that are just like, the operator is the biggest factor in the project. I mean, we're eliminating that. Technology is eliminating the skill required to do this job. And I see it all the time, and everybody's buying into it. And, you know, whatever. It don't work out for me. I don't have a need for the technology. Would it be cool? Yeah, it would be kind of cool to have a grade control backhoe where all I do is I pull a lever backwards and it grades by itself. I could come to work drunk every day or high on dope and still run that machine, and I guess that's where we're headed. Is we're headed to a point where an operator has no skill. There's going to be nothing there. So I feel fortunate that I've gotten in before that happened to me. I'm happy that I learned how to run an old piece of crap backhoe that nobody else wanted to run, and I made it look good. I'm glad I didn't get spoiled to a brand new backhoe with a cabin, air conditioner, and, you know, all the luxuries of a nice home. I'm glad I didn't get that treatment when I started out, because I'd probably not be worth the crap. Probably be awful. So, say what you want about technology, I'm not opposed to it. But I'm afraid that we're going to see the skill levels drop. I mean, being able to hold a grade over 12 foot within a half inch there, or an inch. You know, I still need a grade checker, yeah. But it's not like that's all he's doing in this ditch. He's doing cleanup work. He's also compacting this ditch. So to say that I could eliminate my grade man if I had a grade control, somebody's still going to be walking down that ditch and cleaning it. I mean, I can get it pretty clean, but there's still going to be places to touch up. So, but anyway, like I say, I don't know. If I could find a market for the technology that would actually pay me money to use it, I'd probably have it. And I think that's where a lot of guys are at, is, you know, there's still some kids out there that want to learn how to run a machine and they're good at it. They got the natural talent to do it. And like I've said before, I know I'm not the best at what I do. I'm above average though. But another thing, I think, you know, when I was talking to these guys about digging footings, there's like, well, you use a backhoe? Like that was the question. I'm like, yeah, I use a backhoe. I said that gives me a little bit of an advantage over a Mini X. I can move spoils if I need to. I can load dump trucks, whatever you need done while I'm on the job. And I said also backhoes are faster. And it's like nobody believes that. Nobody believes that. And I think that's the problem that the Mini X brought up is it got people spoiled to, well, they're just easier to operate. Well, easy compared to what? The shovel, yeah. Easy compared to a backhoe, yeah. Backhoe's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit harder to see both ends of it. It's a little more, maybe, I don't know, awkward, maybe. But I've told people before, this is the easiest way to dig a footing is with a backhoe. I need to go down there a little bit. I got carried away, didn't I? Talking. Messed up. I can dig footings neat with a Mini X, don't get me wrong, but I can't do them as nice and as easy as I can with a backhoe. I've tried it. Different size machines, different models, different makes. I've ran a bunch. So this may be a conspiracy theory, but I believe the reason they went to the, you know, I think the reason they're popular is you can pull them around with a 3/4 ton pickup. So for a guy starting a business, a weekend warrior, or whatever, they're great. And they're, you know, every now and then I look at my business and I think, you know, I could probably use one of those. And every now and then I have to rent one, or I have to use one. There's places where they are handy. Not gonna say they're not. They're handy machines to have, but they do not replace the backhoe. In the right hands. I mean, of course, if you can't run a backhoe, you shouldn't have a backhoe, but I mean, you can learn. I can teach you. You ain't got to be scared of them. Anyway, but I will say this, to each his own. Do what you want to do it how you want to do it. That's what I do. Is it always right? No. There's times I'm broke. But then every now and then there's those times when I got plenty of money. Things are working good. But I will tell you this. Those times of having plenty of money never happened when I had a payment on a machine. Those were the times that I was stressed out and worried to death about what I'm going to do next. And been through it. I've paid off 3 backhoes. I got this one and I knew how comfortable it was and how nice it was to operate. I'm like, you know, what would happen if I just keep this one? Honestly, wouldn't mind finding a second one just to have for a backup, but I wouldn't be buying a new one. I wouldn't be buying anything probably near as nice as this one if I did that. And maybe it'd be better if I bought something different like an excavator if I did that. One guy can only turn out so much work, I think. In the right market, the market's booming, one guy can make a hell of a lot of money with one machine, or maybe 2 or 3. But when that market slows down, or if it does, maybe it, hell, I don't know, maybe it never will, I don't know. I think it's already slowing down a little bit. When that happens, them guys with payments are going to be looking for ways to keep them machines busy, and that's when everybody starts getting cheap. that's when you're looking around saying, how in the hell are you doing that job for that much money? Man, I just need enough to make my payments this month. But I also think that there's a big myth, and it happens with new cars, it happens with pickups, everything. And the myth is, you're always going to have a car payment. You're always going to have a payment on a machine. And that's a myth. You don't have to always have a payment on a machine. I mean, once you get a machine paid off, it can help you pay off another one. I mean, that's the biggest benefit to a paid off machine, is that's actually an asset, not a liability. And I've talked to guys that said, well, my financial advisor told me that I should, if I got any cash, I should keep it in the bank, and I should just rent or lease all my equipment, or not lease, but you know, use the system, use the cheap interest rate to make it work. And I have yet to understand how that would ever pay off. If the market goes down, you're not going to have a job. And you're going to have to let your machine go back to the real owner, which is Caterpillar or John Deere or New Holland, whoever. And then when the market comes back, you ain't going to have nothing to work with. I guess you can go get another new one. I don't know. And you know, if you're not good at working on stuff, maybe old equipment's not for you. I'm not saying it's the way everybody ought to do it. It might not work. Sure does work better if you can, though, I think.